Okay, my computer needs to stop overheating right now. My leg is cramping for no reason. So I wanted to do a little video, a little FAQ video, I guess, about my septum piercing, because before I decided to do it, and like maybe a year before, 2 years before I decided to do it, I was always looking at YouTube videos of people talking about how their experience was, and how they got it done, when they got it done, what the healing process was like, and yeah. So I just thought since I actually got mine done not too long ago, I thought I'd share as well, in case anyone else is like me and watches YouTube videos that are curious about getting a septum piercing. I decided to get it just because I really liked it, and it took me so long to get it, mostly because of how much it was, and I think just because of motivation, I guess, to get it, to be honest. Sometimes I'm really impulsive with getting piercings. When I got my belly button pierced last year, 2 summers ago, I was at home by myself, and then there's like a piercing place like literally 2 minutes away from my house, and I just got in my car and just did it, and then I went back home and it was done. So, but then for this one, I think it's because it's a facial piercing that I sort of held off on getting it, because I was mostly afraid of what my parents would think and what my friends would think. And then like a month or 2 ago, my roommate told me that she was going to go with her other friends to get piercings, and she invited me to go with, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go do it. I think I'll go do it. And at first I thought maybe I was going to get a tattoo instead, because I've been really wanting to get another one. But it turns out the place that we went to was just piercings only. What happened was, we got there, and I was pretty iffy, but then I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it, because I had enough money, and I was like, I'm here, and other people are getting stuff done too, and I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. And I just decided I don't care what other people are gonna think about what I do to my body and what I put on my body. And I mean, this is just a whole, I mean, tattoos are completely different, but I still feel the same way about those. But I mean, if I take this out, like, it's in my nose, like no one's gonna see that there was a piercing there, as opposed to my belly button. I got that rejected after like almost a year, which was really upsetting. And I have a big scar there, so anytime like I'm wearing like a crop top or like a bathing suit, like you could totally tell that there's just like a scar there. So, and that kind of sucks. But I mean, who knows? I might get that redone eventually. There was a shop, and the shop was really tiny, and we went there on like a Saturday night, and the whole area of where it's located, the piercing place, is just super busy on the weekends. Like I live in a college town, and it's a really big college town, and so it gets really busy at night. But when we went, there was only like one person. There was only like 2 or 3 people there waiting, and we got in a matter of like 30 minutes maybe. So what we did was we had to sign a few papers and then write down what we were getting, and then we'd pay for it after it was done. So we all signed the papers and everything, and then we waited for like 30 minutes. We all went into the one room. It was one room, that the piercing place had where you get pierced. And the guy there was really nice. He was joking around, making us feel very comfortable, and it was just a very good environment to be in. And he was really nice. And so it was me and then 2 other girls that were gonna, my roommate was gonna get her ear pierced, her cartilage like up here, and then her friend was gonna get her second hole, and then she was also planning on getting her septum, but then she decided not to. So then I went first because I was like, I just want to get it over with, and I just want to do it. So what he did was he had me lay down on the chair bed thing they put you on, and then he had me like lean my head back, so it was like over, it was like hanging over a little bit over the end, and then he sort of took a little bit to feel my sweet spot, which is where they have to pierce it. Some piercers are really bad. You really have to watch out for this if you're gonna get pierced. If you're gonna get your septum pierced, sometimes the piercers are really bad and they pierce through your cartilage, and you'll definitely know that they pierce through cartilage because it will take forever to heal. Septum piercings take no time at all to heal. It takes like a week or 2 weeks. So what he did was he checked for my sweet spot, and then he went in with like a little marker and just sort of like marked the ends in which he would pierce it, and then it would come out. And then he also sort of like measured. He also tried to keep like a straight line here, and then that's how he gauged where to put the marks. And then he went to go get the materials, like the needle and the ring. And then what I didn't get this, I got a retainer. What I got it pierced with originally was this retainer. It's a 14 gauge, so they pierced me with this. He pierced me with this retainer because I told him that I'd want to hide it. I'd want to have it flipped up while it's healing, and it'd be better to do it with that than to do it with something like this. So, so he got the jewelry ready, and then he showed me this little like paper sanitizer that has like, that shows if it's the tools that he's using are sanitized, which is really cool. So so he showed it to me and said, look, I'm just showing you this to let you know that everything's sanitized and everything turned out well. And they have like a little machine in the back that they have to go and like make sure everything's sanitized in. And then he came out and showed me that, and then I was like, great. So then he just gave me the rundown and was like, all right, so I'm just gonna first he like poked the needle and like sort of like made sure it was straight, and then he was like don't worry. He was very good at like reassuring me that everything, like what he was doing, like he wasn't like, I'm gonna touch your body and like not tell you what I'm doing. He was like, I'm not piercing it right now, I'm just trying to line up the needle. And then after he was done doing that, he was like, okay, I'm gonna pierce it through now. And then he told me to take a deep breath. He said, take a deep breath and then let it out slowly. And then when I let it out is right when he pierced it. He like pierced it. It was kind of like, it's gonna look sort of very sexual. He pierced it and it was like this, and then he sort of like pushed it again, so it felt like it was kind of, it wasn't like a clean, it was like you have to struggle to like actually get it through, but it didn't hurt that much. It was probably, my most painful piercing was my conch, which I have right here, this thing. This little thing you can kind of see. This was the most painful piercing that I've ever had. So, but that's through cartilage, so that makes sense. But no, this didn't hurt. It didn't hurt. I mean, it was like a little pinch. It wasn't that bad. My eyes watered a little bit because anything that like hits your nose, it just automatically makes your eyes water. So then it was done. Then he pierced it, and then he put the jewelry in. Putting the jewelry in always hurts way worse than the actual piercing. But it wasn't bad. And then that was it. He didn't really say much about aftercare. I had to ask the guy like in the front, but I was pretty familiar anyways. I just had to get like some salt water, or like get some water and then put some salt in it, and then mix it and then just sort of soak it. And that's what I would do every time. Every night for the next like 2 weeks, I just like held my nose, like you get a little cup of like the salt water, and I sort of like held it up, and then I just sort of like dip my nose in it like this, and then I would just like sit there, and then I would kind of breathe out my nose a little bit and like make little bubbles, just sort of like it just gets the water like flowing in there, so it's not just like you're just sitting there. And then after like 4 weeks, I was back at home because I'm going to college, and it was spring break, so I went home for spring break, and then the piercing place right by my house, I just went there and then got it changed out into this one. And what they did was the lady that gave it to me, she like opened it. She like pried it open a little bit so I could flip it. So let me show you how I flip it up. You just sort of like, at first I was scared because I didn't think I could flip it up, because like it wasn't as it's like it's a little further down, like right here, hitting like the top of my lip sort of still. It's further than like this one was. So, but then you just really have to like open your mouth, and then just sort of like, you open it like this, and then it just slides up like that. It doesn't feel that bad. It feels kind of weird. It's a lot. I can definitely feel it more than this one when I had it flipped up, because this doesn't have little balls on the end and it's shorter. But for this one, it's funny because when I first, it's a weird feeling to describe. It's like when I had the retainer flipped up, and when it was healing, I thought I just constantly had like a booger in my nose. Like I was always like, is this my septum piercing or is it a booger? And it took me a while to get used to having the feeling of it in my nose, and that's kind of how it feels. That's why I really wanted to get it, because you can always hide it from family members or for work purposes if your work doesn't allow piercings. And I thought that was really cool. Also, for the scarring thing, you can't even tell that you had it if you take it out, but you can kind of see it up there in my nose a little bit when it's flipped up. If you're looking down and you're looking up at me, then you could totally tell. But it doesn't hurt to flip it or anything, and then it healed really fast, so I was able to flip it down pretty easily. Yeah, as for like people, I've definitely heard people asking about like if it smells or anything, like, and then people are always like, how do you the funniest question is, how do you blow your nose? And I'm just like, you blow your nose like any other person would, but you just have a thing there. It sometimes like boogers do get on it, but I mean, you can just clean it off. Like you just get used to like blowing your nose and then just sort of like wiping it, making sure that there's nothing on it. Mine's a little crooked. It's a little crooked, like here is like a straight line, and I think what he did was he just sort of made it like that. It's still like straight pretty much when it's just sitting like normal, but I don't know, it doesn't really bug me too much because you can't really tell when it's just like this, but like when you can tell like when I do that. It's just kind of annoying. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this is helpful to anyone who decides to watch this video and decides to get their septum pierced. If you're thinking about it, just go for it. I would say I don't think there's any cons to doing it, to be honest. Because you could always hide it if you have parents or work that are concerned about you having it. So yeah, I hope this is useful for anyone that's wanting to get the septum pierced. And I really like the look of it. Also, I'm thinking about getting the one that just the circle. But I think I actually like this more because you can kind of tell I've been doing this to see what it would look like in my nose if I got one of those. I don't know. I just think I kind of like the look of these better. But I'm gonna get one and see what I think. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.